Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Mindful CEO. I'm your co-host, Chris Angell, here with your other co-host, Aaron Hendon.
The other co-host. I
Your
think
other co
you're
I
the
could
other.
say I'm your host, joined by your
Oh,
other host.
you could. You could. I always think you're the other co-host. So,
you're, oh yeah, I'm your co-host, joined by your other co-host.
but I'm not the
Uh,
other co-host. I refuse to be the other co-host. I am
that's
just the other.
hilarious. Oh God, but you also don't want to be the host. You've made that very clear. Like I say, I'm your co-host, joined by your host, Aaron Henning. You're like, I'm not the
Right.
host.
Yeah.
There's no winning with you, Aaron.
I know. I like to be
Is it because you
contrary.
don't feel you're worthy of being a host?
Oh, slapping it in there and just fucking jumping right in to the green room conversation.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is. Who knows? This whole thing with worthiness is so interesting. It's so loaded and
Mm-hmm.
fraught with emotion.
Fraught. Yes.
Fraught.
I
Are
like that.
things fraught with things other than emotion?
Fraught with flavor. I don't know. Are
No,
your
they're not.
tacos
They're
fraught with
fraught.
flavor?
No, they're fraught
No.
with. Somehow I was reading a little Merriam-Webster post, and there's words that always go together. Like veritable plethora. Um, there's words like if you see one, you know the other one's coming.
Uh-huh.
And I think fraught and emotions is like that.
Fraught with
I
emotions.
don't think you
Okay.
fraught with anything else.
Yeah,
Anyway,
probably not.
but it's worthiness is a word that's worth really looking at. And we're riffing on kindness, and I think there's a link between worthiness, our relationship to worthiness, and our relationship to kindness.
Hmm.
That a connection that's worth pressing into.
We may have, I feel like we've talked about this one other time out of 111 episodes currently active. That we've talked about undeserving versus unworthy,
Yeah,
but it'd be worth just setting that up again for the sake of the conversation and somebody catching it now for the first time.
it'd be worthy.
What's that?
It would be worthy.
It would be worthy to set that up.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got to you got to separate undeserving from unworthy in
Hmm.
order to have any kind of mature relationship to gratitude. That's where the whole thing started. Was like to have a relationship with a powerful, potent, adult, mature, useful relationship to gratitude. You've got to separate unworthy from undeserving. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And mostly like fraught with emotion and undeserving and unworthy come together. Not always, not definitely not connected in the same way, but the meanings are often collapsed.
Yeah.
People don't take the time to look to see what do each one mean separately. They think they mean the same thing, and they don't mean the same thing. They're not. Uh, it's not useful to have them mean the same thing if you're going to have a relationship to gratitude. And here's why. The definition we've been using for gratitude is the experience of appreciating something as a gift.
Mm. Hmm.
And I think that's a pretty safe, inarguable, unassailable
Hmm.
definition of gratitude. When you appreciate something as a gift, that experience that you have, when you're in the presence of something as a gift, that experience you could call gratitude.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So if you're going to look at gratitude from an ontological context and look at it from a experiential context, and you wanted to give a name to the experience or the source to that experience, where does that come from? And, you know, what is it? It's when I'm in the presence of appreciating something as a gift.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're going to use that as a definition, if you're going to use some other definition, this conversation may not be useful, but I have found that to be a really useful definition of gratitude because it provides me an access to it,
Right.
right? It points to like a recipe for something. So it's not like it's a mystery. And no, it's a feeling that comes when I appreciate something as a gift. So if I want to experience gratitude, all I need to do is appreciate what I have as a gift. And then there's this space of, so then if it's a gift, if what we're appreciating is a gift, we are inherently undeserving of that
Right.
because,
Because if you, yeah,
good,
yeah, no, I think I was going where you were going. Because if you were deserving of it, it wouldn't be a gift.
that's right.
It
That's
would
right.
be a payment. It would be a, how else do you talk about it?
That's right. It'd be a payment. It's something, if it's something you deserve, it's a payment. It's,
Mhm.
or whatever else, whatever other word you wanted to put in there. But it's the thing that makes it a gift is that you didn't do anything to get it.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You were undeserving of it.
Yep.
It's it's just the nature of a gift is that they're undeserving. And so there's this experience of humility that arises depending on the depth of the appreciation of the gift
Mm-hmm.
that shows up because we are aware of, or at least our body is aware of the undeserving nature of the gift, and so we are humbled by it. And so the degree to which gratitude and humility are connected is a function of the undeserving nature of the gift that we've been given, that we're appreciating. And I think so that's that whole side of undeserving. And I think people don't have a problem when they take it apart like that. I don't get a lot of arguments about yeah, buts, how abouts, you know,
Right.
you're fucking crazy kind of things about it. I think that's pretty much just the way that is. But I think the argument or the press or the pushback, the resistance comes because we somehow have undeserving wrapped up around the axle of unworthy. And we are uh, on the lookout for that whole world, right? We are either fundamentally for ourselves unworthy, right? We have a deprecating
Uh-huh.
relationship to ourselves, and we're, I'm not worthy, and you know,
Yeah. Right.
and you can hear it. It's right there. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this, right? Like they're connected like that, but they're not connected if you don't connect them. They're very different. So there's this world of unworthiness that is a judgment or an assessment that one would lay onto another,
Mm.
where
You're,
worthiness
yeah.
comes from is if it's not self-generated, like an inherent worthiness, it's first of all, deserving is related to action, worthiness is related to being.
Uh-huh.
Right? I didn't do anything to deserve this, which is true. I mean, even the shit that happens, even the things that you would label shitty
Yeah.
that happened to you, it's true. You did not do anything to deserve that. People in whatever shitty thing happens, you got a flat tire, you got, you know, something horrible happened to you, kid got cancer or something. You didn't do anything to deserve that. That's equally true as, that sunset that you're appreciating or that your children are healthy. You didn't do anything to deserve either of those two outcomes. You are
Yeah.
fundamentally undeserving of anything that you get. You're just getting what you get.
Mm.
And
Mm.
but worthiness is a judgment or an assessment made by ourselves or by others about who we are,
Yeah. The R-ness.
the beingness, yeah, ourness,
Mm.
existential.
Yeah.
Relate that worthiness is connected to that. And I haven't gotten any deeper than, or I haven't gotten any other place other than I just don't fuck with worthiness. I just am not interested in fucking with it because if you're going to start to assign worthiness to things or people,
Mm.
if
Yeah.
you're going to start to assign this person's worthy, this person is unworthy,
Mm.
then you're playing the game that every holy war, every social injustice, every bit of inequity that has ever been laid upon humanity, that you're now playing that game.
Right. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just that's the very nature of all of that
Hmm.
is rooted in someone or a group of people have taken it upon themselves to determine who's worthy and who's not worthy.
Mm. Right.
I mean, that's again, I feel like it's an unassailable
Yeah.
position. that's where those come from. Someone has deemed this or that worthy, this or that unworthy. And I just think you're better off not fucking with it.
Right.
Not playing that game. Just land in, if you're human, you're worthy. If you're living, you're worthy of being alive. It's just the
Mhm.
period. You're worthy of everything that all good things. You're worthy of them for your, it's just an easier place to stand for me. Humanity, hum, humanitarianly, whatever. I don't know the word for this,
Yeah.
right? It's just easy. It's just cleaner. It's like, look, if you're
Mhm.
alive, you're worthy, period. And I'm worthy and you're worthy. And, you know, we,
Right.
you can play around with it in Wayne's World to fuck with it otherwise. So that's the difference between unworthy and undeserving in my world.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
freeze? Did I freeze?
You froze, but I think the recording still picked it up, so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think about we can pivot here to the how it relates to kindness and sort of where we're going in the mastermind. But I do think for a second just the when somebody receives a gift and they're embarrassed to receive it,
Yes.
that speaks to someone feeling unworthy of it, which is the
Yeah.
thing you're saying. Like you've collapsed, like you're undeserving of it, yes, because you didn't earn it, you didn't do something to earn it. It just was given, but you're not unworthy to receive it.
Correct.
You're worthy. Undeserving, yes. Unworthy, no. And this is where we talk about um, the imposter syndrome fits in here pretty nicely. I think when somebody thinks, "Oh, who am I to do that?" There is an adjacent judgment about worthiness. I'm not worthy to lead this work. I'm not worthy to take up space. I'm not worthy to say what I think about something. And so we sort of somebody else is worthy. Mel Robbins is worthy because she stands on stages and says beautiful things, or Seth Godin is worthy. Somebody who's done more than me is worthy, and this is but I'm not. And so then imposter syndrome I think creeps in for us, and you could do this with meditation and mindfulness practices. Like I'm not a yogi, I'm not a meditator. And I
Yeah.
think there's a judgment because that's where you were talking about assessing and judging. And what are we judging? We're judging worthiness.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's useful to get in that domain or get in that conversation and begin to explore our relationship to it because it's laden with meetings and it's goes has tendrils that go deep into our lives. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth exploring all that. And the more we can connect to being just fundamentally who we are for ourselves, worthy and undeserving, the easier it is to connect to gratitude.
Yeah.
And that's worth exploring. Then there's this whole conversation about how that relates to kindness. And I think worthiness and kindness are connected. And I don't have it all sorted out. So again, for everyone, we're taking the crayon for a walk here and
Mm-hmm.
seeing what shows up about it. But we're constant. I have experience of me or others, excuse me, judging
Mm-hmm.
and assessing who's worthy of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
That we dole out kindness through a filter of worthiness. Not, and we are not just universally kind. That we're that, and I think people are liars about it. That we're inauthentic about it. We're liars about it. That we don't think of ourselves as doing this. And and I'll just use my circle, the people I talk to, and I don't know, to say I'm liberal is to say water's wet. It's, uh, I'm to the left of Bernie Sanders politically. So, and I know that's the circle I run with. That's my bubble. And everyone thinks of themselves as a kind person. And I think I don't know, is that true for, do most people think of themselves as kind, even in other political conversations or other orientations?
I would think so.
I would
I
think
would think
so,
it's a
right?
pretty common
I think so.
assumption. Yeah,
I think that's a baseline to some, we assume we, at least we present ourselves as we're kind. We present as kind. You
sure.
know what I mean? Like we think we're kind. We
Yeah,
think of ourselves as kind.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I think that's true too. So we think of ourselves as kind, but I do know that in the people I work with, um, mostly fall on the left side of the spectrum, the political spectrum. And when we do metta and loving kindness meditation, there's as a portion of the meditation, an aspect of the meditation where you extend loving kindness on people you love and people you know tangentially and then people you have a disagreement with, people who you don't like. Um, and I've had more than one person. Again, this is anecdotal, so it's not, I haven't done any studies on this. This is just my limited experience in life. But I've had more than one person express a question about how could I possibly extend loving kindness to Stephen Miller or to Pete Hegseth or to Donald Trump or to, these people that are, you know, whatever they're doing, whatever they're doing. And I have a judgment about what they're doing. And if I judge what they're doing as wrong, how could I extend kindness to them? And I would suspect on the far right, it would be the same question if you substituted Obama or Biden. How could I extend kindness to them?
Right.
How could I
Yep.
extend kindness to people I disagree with?
Hmm. Right.
So strongly. And this, right. And I think so there's kindness. Like, how could I extend kindness to them? How could I generate kind feelings towards them? And when I disagree with them, and I think what we're saying when we're doing that is that person is not worthy of my kindness.
Right.
Their actions have deemed them in my world unworthy of my kindness.
Right. Now you're back to deciding what's worthy and not worthy.
And you're back in the game now, deciding what's where you're now have a holy war. You
Yep.
are your own personal, Pope sending out the
Hmm.
Spanish Inquisition
Hmm. Yeah.
to eliminate that. And I think you've got to, I think you got to give up the right to fuck with worthiness.
Hmm.
You just give it up. And so there's that, right? So then there's so it's connected to kindness that way, because I think kindness is something we dole out based on worthiness, or we're willing to be kind. Like, it costs us something to be kind. And it does, I think, but what it costs us to be kind is it costs us our opinions, it costs us our views, it costs us our attachment
Hmm.
to being right, that some are worthy and some are not worthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's that relationship that it nurtures with or fosters with ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, are we worthy of our own kindness? And that's the one that's more interesting to me. I think everything else we've just discussed, or everything else I just rambled on about, is, I don't know. I think it's a solid case. Again, I don't
Yeah.
think it's unassailable, but I certainly think it's a solid case. But then it comes to, okay, what about kind to ourselves? And I think then that gets wrapped around whatever trauma we have around our own worthiness,
Right.
and then discipline, and can you really change someone's performance by being kind with them? And I don't know, but
Yeah. No, I think that's super interesting. Uh, Brene Brown, uh, in I can't remember which book it was, but some of her work. Um, One of the things she said was like the difference between people who experience love and those who don't. Do you know this? This
I
The
don't.
people who experience love and those who don't, the only difference is that those who experience it believe they're worthy of it. That's it. Like in her research, which is really interesting because there's some work to do evidently around when you can get the distinction between, you might be undeserving of somebody loving on you, but you are worthy of that love. If you can get to the space of I'm worthy of it, then I think how we show up to our work, our relationships, our collaborations, our whatever is like it's different because there's not so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, uh, what's the word when somebody drives a really big truck? Oh, compensating. There's not so much compensating. Right. There's
I love that's a metaphor. So good. That's not, I don't want to gloss over that. What's that word for when someone drives a really big truck? Compensating. Yes, that is the
yes.
fucking, there's the headline.
there's yeah, because then if I don't feel I'm worthy, but I'm in a collaboration with you, or if then I'm always trying to do something to earn it. I'm trying, or
Right.
I'm doing something to make sure you don't burn me because I don't feel like I'm worth. There's a lot of this that I don't like. To your point, like, I don't know if you made the point, but it gets missed. It hides under the surface of our interactions with each other. This thing about I'm not worthy.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And so that's worth it really is something to drive up so that you can examine it. Like where do you have worthy and deserving collapsed
Mm-hmm.
as the same thing? And
Yeah.
then where are you the arbiter of worthiness
Mm-hmm.
for yourself or for others and for anything, even worthy of my anger, worthy of my wrath, worthy of, I like that, worthy of my wrath, worthy, worthy of my disdain, worthy
Mm.
of, what's the word we were, contempt,
Contempt.
contempt worthy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and we definitely judge. Oh my God, almost everything I disagree with is worthy of my contempt. I mean, that's how it shows up. I mean, but it's instant. It's not that I judge it worthy of my contempt. It's just I have contempt for it. But what I'm not responsible for is the mechanism that got me there is I judged it worthy of contempt.
Mm.
And then if I find something else out about it, like you're mad at someone because they're driving like an idiot, and then you get up there and you
Yeah.
find out whatever, something about them, and you're like, oh, I made a mistake. You know, they were worthy of your contempt, and then all of a sudden their circumstances changed and you felt like an idiot because they were actually not worthy of your contempt. Um, what?
Just that it still like lives in the space of worthy. Like, oh yeah, now I feel justified. Like you are an asshole. Like I am right. You are not worthy of
Right,
my kindness. I am, like, and that just lives as so true.
right,
Like, uh, very collapsed for me. I could see in certain circumstances, like, oh yeah, no, I will die on the hill called "You are not worthy of blank." You are not worthy of something.
right. Completely irresponsible for the fact that we're laying it on there. It's more, we, that is one of those things we live with like a description, not a creation. I mean,
Yeah,
there's almost everything in life we live is a description, not a creation, but that's a
mm,
super impactful one that lives like we're just like it's just that person's an idiot.
yeah.
That not I have deemed them worthy of my contempt.
Right, right, right. I have deemed them. I
But that
shall
would
now.
that would clear the whole fucking thing up because you would check yourself.
Yeah,
You
right.
would you would have to check yourself. Even if you got it like I'm deeming myself unworthy of this, you're now at the least at the source of what's actually happening. So you have a
Right.
chance to do something else,
Right.
which is even beyond I feel unworthy because the feeling of unworthy came after you assessed worthiness.
Yeah, right. This is what's worthy. I'm not that. Therefore, ergo. So as long as
Ergo,
we're throwing some words into it, ergo, I am not worthy. This is
that
what's
is
worthy. I'm not that. Ergo, I'm not worthy. All right. Yeah. Yes, and
Well,
that's super interesting because you're right, like to the point about holy wars and wars being waged because I am worthier than you or you deemed me not worthy. Like this is how fights get picked. Where like, how dare you play God and think that I am something less than you? Why are you talking down to me? Why do you have the rights to make decisions for me? And those decisions I think are sometimes made from a place of that worthiness thing.
yeah, good.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think,
sticky.
and yeah, it is good,
Sticky.
right? So that's worthy of checking out. And exploring. I think let's just put a pin in it there. Um, and then we can connect, and I'd like to keep connecting that up to kindness, and particularly where we're voting on the worthiness of being kind. Because I think, oh, by default, we just think of ourselves as kind, and that's
Yeah,
blatantly not true. I mean, any
right.
cursory of the delivery of our kindness will show that we are not we are not act, we do not act universally kind across the board to ourselves or to others.
Yeah, right. Yeah, reminds me of that thing you said. We can put a pin in, but that thing you said about like spilling the coffee and what came out of the coffee cup
Right.
was like, oh, you bumped into me and you made me spill my coffee. No, I bumped into you and you spilled coffee because what was in your cup was coffee. Like that there is a contempt in us or a a decider. I am the decider, right? I decide what's worthy and unworthy, and then we bump into others and ourselves, and we make these decisions about like what is worthy and unworthy.
And that's why I meditate, because it slows the whole thing down
Yeah,
that you can
yeah,
be responsible for. You can see what the narrator is saying.
right. Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
Good.
All right.
All right. Well, those of you that want to go to work on meditation, the metta, METTA, the metta meditation Aaron referred to is in the 9-week How to Live a Grateful Life in a Fucked Up World program. It's free. The next cohort is what, in January?
In January, we don't have dates yet.
Great. So
We don't have dates yet. Me and my
posse,
posse.
your mindfulness posse. Yeah, man. Got it.
Yeah.
But go to how to live a grateful go to thegratefulbreath.com, thegratefulbreath.com. If you're a real estate agent, you want to learn more about this very same work, but with a real estate spin on it, you can go to therealtorsedge.com. And if you're listening on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe. We would really appreciate that. If this is on a podcast directory, why don't you leave us a review?
Why don't you leave us a
Why don't
review?
you leave us? We're worthy.
You're totally
Sorry,
modified for it.
did I steal that for you? We're
No,
worthy of it. All right.
you are.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks everybody. Thanks, Aaron. We'll catch you out next time. Peace.